My name is Cambria. And this is my story. I was born and raised in a Christian home, in a Christian school with a very loving family structure. My dad loved my mom, good family life, safe environment. My parents loved me, and I attended a private Christian school, very fortunate, very blessed. We lived in a nice home, and things were really safe growing up as far as spiritually, emotionally, physically. I was very protected by God. From a very young age, I understood who God was, and that I understood the gospel. The gospel is so simple that a little child can understand it, and yet so complex that we can continue throughout our whole lives learning more about it. And I understood at a really young age about the Lord, and my mom would read me the Bible every night before I would go to bed, and for the most part, things were good in my life. And I remember being about 12 years old when my life really took a dramatic change from just knowing who God was and knowing who Jesus Christ is. At 12 years old, I went to a Christian camp, and I remember sitting there, and everyone had their hands raised up, and they were worshiping Jesus, and I knew who Jesus was. I had accepted him when I was 5 years old, and I understood. I got it. It was plain and clear and simple. But I remember the pastor said that we are the salt and the light of this world, and that our lives should be a reflection of his. And those words hit me like no other, and they've stuck with me to this day. And I understood in that one moment what my whole entire life was made for. I understood my purpose, and I understood that my life is to be lived for Jesus Christ, for my King. And I no longer just lived a simple Christian life with a safe family and a safe home, and I got it. I got it this time, and it changed my heart. It changed my life. I remember going home from camp, and I literally just laid on the ground, my face down, in complete surrender to the Lord. I didn't even know what I was doing. I was 12. And I just remember crying, and I just told God, I said, God, from here on out, from this very day, I'm not just going to be a carnal Christian who says that I love you and lives my life for me and makes decisions just for me and about me. That is what completely changed me, is knowing that my life is not mine. It's not my own. It was bought at a very high price with pricey blood. And I think people like to water down the gospel and don't like to talk about, Jesus' death. But he died for you. You have to understand that. And I that's when I got it. His blood was literally shed for my life, and it's not even mine to serve. And I am a slave to Jesus Christ, and a servant of him, and that doesn't mean that my life is perfect in any means, in any way. 3 years later, I developed an eating disorder because I felt like I wasn't good enough. I started relying on things other than Jesus to satisfy me and to fill me up, and whenever you do that, and whatever you're in, whether it's relationships, trying to fill yourself up with love from other people, or looking a certain way, or wanting people to like you, or whatever it is, or just wanting to like yourself, it's impossible to do without God, because our image is in Christ, and I wasn't looking for my image in him. I wanted to look a certain way so that other people would like me, and so that ultimately that I could like myself. I didn't like who I was just because I wasn't skinny, and just because I thought that if I wasn't skinny then I wasn't pretty. And I had to learn through that, and God really showed me through that. And God showed me through my eating disorder that he is sovereign and he is faithful, and that who I am is not what I look like or even what I think that I should be. It's who God designed and created me to be, and I am created in his image. He taught me through that I am his and he is mine, and that I am not what I look like. I am who God says that I am, and it radically changed my life. And looking back on it, I remember being in those moments of crying and feeling disgusting about myself, of not eating for days and then binging on food and eating too much and feeling like a disgusting, horrible person. And no, I didn't do drugs, and no, I didn't do all these other things, but there's an emptiness inside of all of us that nothing can be filled except for with Jesus.